Jude Bellingham. The last day or so, there's been a few things floating about that apparently sources feel pessimistic. Liverpool sources feel pessimistic about our chances of ever actually signing Jude Bellingham, not only because of his potential transfer cost, but because of his wage demands. So we'll take a dive into Bellingham first, because I think that's one that everyone's quite keen to get over the line and just do. You know, apparently we're going to wait till next year. Maybe we'll jump in this year. But are we ever going to actually do it or not? I don't think Paul Joyce has ever completely confirmed that Liverpool definitely are looking at Bellingham. And I don't know how many, tier 1 sources have confirmed that. I've always felt that Bellingham, whilst it would be great to sign him and he would be that kind of rock star, superstar, generational talent signing, which we've never really had in the Klopp era. I've always signed people and then built them up. And I know we'd build Bellingham up still, but he already feels like he's at that level and can only go even higher. But it never felt like it fit in with any type of business we'd done before. And I think I'm objectively right in that. If we signed Bellingham, he would be the first. He would be the first in whatever we're going for, and it would be a hole in FSG's wallet for sure. But it would be very different to our usual approach to transfers, which is buy cheap or cheapish, attempt to build up, increase market value, and then sell on or take them through their best years and they can just go whenever at the end of their contract, which is what might happen with Mo Salah. But if we take a look at Jude Bellingham, of course, he's 18 years old. Reportedly, I couldn't find exactly, but the one I did find, about 49,000. So let's assume anywhere between 40 and 55,000 pounds a week. He's currently on at Dortmund. He's 18 years of age. So say we signed him this summer, you'd presume for the investment we're putting in, it'll be on like a 5-year deal, wouldn't it? After 3 of those, you get into, he's only got 2 years left. So that's when the negotiations seem to begin with us. It happened with Salah, happened with Mane. 2 years left on their deal. From that point on, we start negotiating, right? I've missed a point. So we sign him at 18 years old. He's currently on £49,000 a week. He's going to be his first contract with Liverpool. Let's be realistic. It's going to break 100,000 straight away, isn't it? Like whoever he's signed on with is going to rake it in for him, and he knows that he could go anywhere and get a ridiculous amount of money. So whether we like it or not, we'd have to at least equal some of those bids. Even if he is a Liverpool fanatic, which I'm not sure that he is. So let's say 120,000. That's his first contract for 5 years. 3 years down the line, we're looking to renegotiate. He's still only 21 years old. Right? He's 21 years old on a 5-year deal with 2 years left on £120,000 a week. Not only just naturally you're going to give him a pay rise, but if his current trajectory continues, at 18 he's brilliant, maybe world class. At 21, he's going to be already knocking at the door of some of the truly world class midfielders currently playing today. He's going to be right up there, a sensational player, contributing massively to Liverpool's success, right? Let's assume that happens and not that he gets a catastrophic injury that ruins his career. So let's say he does really well in those first 3 years. What's his next contract going to be? He'd probably have to more than double it, wouldn't you? So let's go for the high end. £120,000 a week was his first contract with Liverpool. I'm making this all up, but I feel like it makes sense. You're going to be more than doubling that. So what? £250,000 a week. So that's currently more than what Virgil van Dijk is on, and he would only be 21 years old. So let's say we extend for another 5 years. So he's got 2 left plus another 3. Then in another 3 years, he's only going to be 24, and you've got to re-sign him again. Maybe you could let it go until he's 25, 26, but with 2 years left on his deal, he's only 24, and he's now on his 3rd poxy contract with us and is already earning over £250,000. You know, we could assume. I feel like I'm not being too audacious with these predictions and these calculations, right? And bearing in mind, we've signed him because there's an expectation he's going to go on and become one of the best midfielders in the world, either at the time or bloody ever, right? So we're going to want to keep him. We're not signing him for a few years so he can then move to Real Madrid or Barcelona. We would be spending 80 odd million pounds just to sign him, plus all the other signing on fees and the wages of his contract, because we want to see him through the best parts of his career and then maybe let him go when he's in his 30s and, you know, in his autumn years. But we want his prime, which is, you know, anywhere from between 26 to you know, 31, 32 as a midfielder. So he's on his third contract and he's not even coming into his prime yet, and he's already on over well over £200,000 a week. So to then keep him on through the prime of his years, he's going to be breaking all sorts. He's going to be breaking all sorts of records for our wage structure. And I feel like this is quite a modest interpretation of how it would go down, because even after 2 years of a 5-year deal, he's probably demanding more wages, which we'd probably have to give him. You know, otherwise we're going to be looking at things like potentially wage. What would go in his contract? A minimum, a release clause. You know, if he doesn't get exactly what he wants, he'll say, fine, but I want a £100 million release clause in my contract, right? And people like Real Madrid, they'll be sniffing around him as soon as he moves to us, the same way that they are with, you know, Erling Haaland. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm not saying we can't do it or we can't make it work or that we wouldn't try and do it, because there is so much traffic around this rumour. There's got to be some truth in it. We've got to be scouting. We've got to be looking at him. Klopp has to be a massive admirer of him. And I feel like there's got to have at least been some sort of preliminary talks had with either the player, the agent, or Dortmund. There's something there. So obviously there's a feeling that maybe we could pull it off somewhere. Yeah, I'm not saying we wouldn't sign Bellingham. Tommy says give Jude a 10-year contract starting at 150k a week, raised by 25% every 2 years. Years 9 out of 10 ends up at £366,000. I think there's a reason why clubs don't do those sorts of things, because it's not only, you know, not only would players not really want to sign for that long, but he could easily bloody get an injury in his first season and end up like Oxlade-Chamberlain. Who knows? You know, that's a lot of trust, and you don't see things like that for a reason. It's a bit unrealistic. Hyla says Louis is almost drooling on his Bellingham dream. I hope to God he never experiences that Bellingham signs for another club. The same with some of the others who seem so sure about Bellingham. Whoa, Hyla. Give me some credit. I'm spitting out the facts. I'm almost sticking up for FSG as to why it wouldn't be possible. I'm not drooling over bloody anybody. I think you've taken what I've said the wrong way a little bit here. You know, I've said it never felt like a transfer we'd make. If we get him, hell yeah, I'm on that boat. But I've never felt like it's something that we would normally do. I feel like something has obviously changed if we are to go out and make a signing like that. So yeah, those are the numbers. Those are the numbers that I've made up. It could be completely wide of the mark, but I just feel like he's at such a young age and is already so highly regarded, has got such a transfer fee on him, has wages at a certain level which him and his agent would demand to be raised by a large amount in his first contract. We're going to be looking at, if we want to keep him, having to renew his contract every 3 years and signing him to 5-year deals. By the time he comes into his peak, and I'm just summarising now, by the time he comes into his peak at about 26, 27, you would expect, he's already going to be pretty much breaking our contract structure, our wage structure. Is he worth it? Again, that's not for me to decide, I don't think. I don't think that's for me to decide. I'll let you guys stew on that one, and we can always come back and revisit it another time. I just think it's incredibly interesting. It's something that doesn't get talked about a lot, just how out of the box a Jude Bellingham deal would be for a club like Liverpool, who don't go after, young generational talents. It's not something that we've needed to do up until now, and it's not something that we ever have done, especially under this ownership. So we'll see. Your honest opinion, do you think we will get Bellingham? Well, this is where it gets tricky, because all that we have to go off of is what different sources and journalists who have a mixed bag of reliability have told us. We haven't had a Paul Joyce tweet, and he won't tweet on rumours. He'll tweet on when someone's bloody joining, won't he? And of course, nothing from the club, and of course, nothing from Jurgen Klopp. So all I can assume with what is available to me is that this idea that we're now willing to wait until next season, unless it is another attempt by FSG to bluff the fans into thinking we're spending big next year and then not actually do it. If it's not that, which I really hope it isn't, and I don't think they could get away with it if they did that again, I feel like there's been something said underhand, or there's been something done behind the scenes, maybe just a verbal agreement, maybe Klopp bloody phoned Bellingham or his agent or whatever, and maybe there's just something there that's in place for next year. Like, Jude, how do you feel about moving to Liverpool? Oh yeah, that sounds brilliant. We're going to move for you next year. Okay, yep, I'm happy with that. If anything changes, I'll let you know, but that's cool. No worries, I'm your man. So maybe that's what's happened. That's what I'd like to believe. Will we get him? I have to be positive, don't I? I have to be positive. But as Hyla said, Tchouaméni is a good example of that. And he says there are at least 10 teams that can offer Bellingham more on wages and transfer fees. It's not a case of can, it's a case of wanting to. We absolutely could if we wanted to, but at the moment we don't.